Season 1 ended with Chicago, Season 2 ended with the multiverse, Season 3 ended with Mark strangling Conquest using nothing but his forehead, and whatever was left of his body. Season 4 just ended with the conversation, no blood, no fight, one decision, and it's the best finale this show has ever produced. The episode starts with Thrag leading his Viltrumites down to Earth. Cities flooding, buildings collapsing, tidal waves swallowing coastlines. Exactly what Mark feared was happening while he was still days away in space.
Mark?
What?
You need to stop worrying and sleep.
I don't need to.
There's nothing we can do until we get home.
Then Mark wakes up on the ship. It was a nightmare. Nolan's next to him, trying to pull him back to the present. The fake out is immediate and deliberate. This is going to be an episode that lives inside Mark's head. The war technically ended in episode 7 when Viltrum was destroyed, but 40 surviving Viltrumites, homeless and furious, are somewhere in the universe with nothing left to lose. Mark knows where they went. Tech Jacket, Zoe, tries to get them talking. She floats options. She even jokes about just letting the Viltrumites win. Neither Grayson hears it. They're doing what soldiers do when they get home from a war that never ended, sitting in silence with nothing useful to do yet. When the ship enters the solar system, Mark flies off alone before anyone finishes a sentence about a plan. He circles the globe looking for carnage. He finds none. No destroyed cities, no bodies, no Viltrumites visibly present. Earth looks normal from above, and for a single second you almost let yourself feel relieved. Then you remember what relief costs in this show.
They're not here. They're not here.
Good, that's good.
I mean, they're not here now.
Mark gets to Debbie first. She's been holding herself together for months while the people she loves fly off to a war she can't participate in. The moment she sees him, she breaks down and pulls him in. And while she's holding her son, Mark has his first hallucination. Thrag appears in the room, grabs Debbie by the throat, rips her head off. Her eyes go glassy and off-kilter in a way the show animated specifically to be wrong. The detail is deliberate, the wrongness is the point. It lasts a second, then it's gone. Mark is standing in the kitchen holding his mother while his brain shows him what he's most afraid of losing. Debbie and Paul broke up during the 10-month time skip. Sandra plays the exhaustion of it in every sentence.
Superheroes? Other planets? All that stuff is your world. Probably also why things between us didn't work out.
When she eventually speaks to Paul, he surprises her. Go to Telescria and be with Oliver. That world, the aliens and the stakes and the impossible things, is her life as much as anyone else's. She's been treating it as something that happens to her family. It's time to accept it's also happening to her. Nolan floats outside the house. He won't go in. He's respecting a line he never would have respected 4 seasons ago. And he knows the respect itself still doesn't fix anything. He goes to the crater on the mountainside where he beat Mark to the edge of death in the season 1 finale.
Why did you make me do this? You're fighting so you can watch everyone around you die.
Stands there alone with what he did. Cecil arrives and keeps his distance. Being near Nolan Grayson is a genuinely dangerous act for a human being with no powers, and Cecil standing within 20 feet of him is already courageous. He tells Nolan, "I'll never not be afraid of you." There's no good response to that. Nolan doesn't try to find one.
You don't have to be afraid.
I will never not be afraid of you.
When Cecil hears that 40 Viltrumites are still unaccounted for somewhere in the universe, the grace he'd been extending disappears immediately. He tells Nolan to get off his planet. Earth is not his therapy couch.
40 very pissed off space super Nazis who are going to be hungry for revenge. Earth isn't your therapy couch, Nolan. Get the fuck off my planet.
The language is blunt and right. The next morning, Debbie says she's going to Telescria to be with Oliver. She surprises everyone, including Nolan. She's going for her son, not for her husband. But when Nolan flies her up to the ship and they both look out over the Earth together, the show places something quiet and unspoken between them. It doesn't name it, just leaves it there. The hallucinations don't stop at Debbie's kitchen, they get worse as the episode goes on. When Mark visits William and Rick at Upstate University, he's mid-conversation with his best friend when the vision hits. Anissa drops into the middle of campus and begins massacring students, William's jaw gets ripped off the same way Oliver's did in the real battle. Mark watches it happening and can't move, can't stop it, can't even yell. Then it's over and William is still talking and nothing happened. The pattern the show builds across this episode is precise in a way worth noticing. Taste Magazine's critic caught it in their recap. Each hallucination mirrors real violence Mark actually witnessed. Cecil gets impaled the way Nolan was. Eve's eye gets gouged the way Mark's nearly was fighting Thrag. William loses his jaw the way Oliver did when Thrag caught his punch and snapped it. His brain took every terrible thing he survived and reprojected it onto the people still standing, running the worst possible version of every reunion in the background of the real one.
This is the smallest repayment for what you did to her.
There's no off switch, no fight he can win against it. When Mark sits down with Cecil for a debrief on the Viltrumite situation, he has another full episode mid-meeting. Thrag appears and kills Cecil in front of him, and Mark snaps back to find himself sitting in a chair in the GDA building with his director looking at him. He breaks down right there in front of Cecil and Donald and whoever else is in the room. He asks if there's someone he can talk to about what's happening to him.
You know how a long time ago you said you had people I could talk to? Professionals?
We'll take care of it. We can do the debrief in a few days.
Walton Goggins as Cecil gets the best line delivery in the episode across two separate moments. The first lands when Nolan tries to reassure him that the war is won, and Cecil cuts through it cleanly. The second is quieter. When Mark breaks down in his office and asks for someone to talk to, Cecil says yes without ceremony. Same man who's been playing defense against Viltrumites for seasons, who's never above using the people around him as pieces in a larger strategy.
We can be the good guys, or we can be the guys that save the world. We can't be both.
Choosing in that moment to just take care of the kid in front of him. Mark Grayson, 18 years old by human standards, asking for help in the building that was designed to contain him if necessary. Cecil says yes without making it complicated. That scene is quiet and small, and the episode trusts it completely. The hardest conversation in the episode happens at night, in Mark and Eve's apartment, with almost no score underneath it. Eve has been carrying something alone since before Mark left. Back in episode 3 of this season, she found out she was pregnant, and she saw the positive test and made a decision immediately. She wasn't telling Mark. He was about to leave for the Viltrumite War. There was no guarantee he was coming back. There was no realistic version of her raising a child alone through an interstellar conflict while also dealing with the fact that she'd lost her powers. She had an abortion. She went through all of it by herself. The decision and the aftermath and the months of not knowing whether Mark was alive.
I had an abortion. I didn't tell you because I wanted you thinking about coming home alive, not this.
Her powers stopped working around that time. She thought it was stress. The show had been threading this quietly all season. Eve stepping back from Invincible Inc., taking fewer active missions, gaining weight in a way the show depicted without comment until now. The reveal that the pregnancy and the power loss were connected comes in this scene, and the way Jillian Jacobs delivers it, starting to explain how she figured out why her powers came back, and then stopping when Mark has another vision, then starting again after he calms down, makes it feel like a real conversation rather than an exposition delivery. She's tired.
And when you were gone, I was so alone. And the thought of going through everything by myself, I made a decision.
She's been through something enormous without him. She made the right call for herself, and she doesn't apologize for it. But she's also been carrying the weight of it alone, and telling Mark means putting it down somewhere, which requires trusting that he can hold it without making it about him. He cries, he apologizes, he says he should have been there. Steven Yeun plays the moment with no defensiveness and no drama, just genuine grief that she went through something significant while he was somewhere else doing something that felt necessary and left her behind anyway. He's not upset about the abortion, he's devastated about the aloneness of it, and he tells her that clearly. Eve tells him she's not going anywhere. She means it. Her powers are back.
And my powers came back. I put Invincible ink on hold once you left. And maybe you noticed, but not using my powers, living here, eating with my parents, I haven't had the time to take care of myself much, so.
She's starting to figure out what she wants her life to look like. She's not abandoning him, but this conversation changes the texture of what they have to carry together, and the show earns that by not softening the moment with a convenient reconciliation. They go back to sleep. They're going to be okay. The okay is real and also costs something. That scene in a lesser show would be treated as a B-plot. In this finale, it's structurally central to everything Mark does in the last 15 minutes because the deal with Thrag carries the weight it does for a specific reason. He made it, knowing Eve is in that apartment, knowing she had an abortion alone during the months he was gone, knowing she stayed anyway. She is what he's protecting when he says yes. The audience knows that. Thrag doesn't care. And Mark has to live in the middle of all three of those facts simultaneously.
Yes, we are here. I've done nothing to your plan yet.
Something worth examining specifically about this episode is the craft behind how the hallucinations are designed, because the show didn't just throw random violence at the screen. Every vision Mark has is structurally connected to something real. Paste Magazine's critic caught this in their recap, and it's worth spelling out. Imaginary Thrag kills Cecil by impaling him, which mirrors how Nolan was impaled during the final battle. William gets his jaw ripped off the same way Oliver's was when Thrag caught his punch. Eve gets her eye gouged out the way Mark nearly did in his own fight with Thrag. The hallucinations aren't random. They're Mark's brain taking real violence he witnessed and reprojecting it onto the faces of everyone he loves, as if his nervous system is running a stress test on the relationships that actually matter to him by simulating their ends. That specificity is what makes them land harder than generic horror imagery would. You're not watching a nightmare, you're watching the show's entire history weaponized against one character's mental state. Every brutal thing Mark survived is now showing up at the kitchen table and in the middle of conversations and in a college quad on a normal afternoon. There's no off switch. There's no fight he can win against it. The show also plays the line between real and hallucinated with precision. After the first one in Debbie's kitchen, which catches the audience completely off guard, you go on alert for every subsequent scene you're watching for tells. You're second guessing every moment when Thrag appears. The episode trains you to doubt what you're seeing, which means that when Thrag finally shows up for real in the sky, you don't know immediately. You've been conditioned to assume it's Mark's head. The reveal that it's real lands harder because of that conditioning. That's a writing and structural choice that this show earns because it committed to the PTSD angle seriously enough across 40 minutes to make the uncertainty feel genuine. It's not a cheap trick.
Did you not imagine there would be consequences for everyone you love?
It's consequence and craft operating together. Mark takes Eve's advice and goes flying. She tells him to go up and clear his head, not to look for crime, not to scope for Viltrumites, just to be in the sky and be somewhere other than inside the worst images his brain keeps generating.
You should go out for a flight. No destination, not looking for trouble, just a flight. It'll help.
I don't want to.
That's exactly why you should.
He goes. And Thrag is there. The show has spent 40 minutes conditioning you to assume Thrag appearances are hallucinations. Every time he showed up this episode, it turned out to be Mark's mind. So when he appears in the sky next to Mark on this flight, there's a genuine suspended moment. Is this real? The answer comes from everything around it. The stillness, the calm, Thrag hovering in open air with no urgency, no violence in his posture. He's there to negotiate, not to fight. And the show lets that register before anyone speaks. He tells Mark there are 37 Viltrumites remaining. 37 beings with the physical capabilities of Nolan Grayson, scattered across Earth, already here, already hidden.
We will live among you. We will disappear within your society. Your people will never know we are here.
The warning system the GDA had Nolan help set up, the one designed to detect incoming Viltrumites at the edge of the solar system, was switched on too late. They're already inside the wire. Thrag's offer is this. The Viltrumites will live among humans. They blend in, they breed, they rebuild their population over generations. The Empire comes back. In exchange, Earth goes untouched. Nobody dies tonight. The alternative is immediate destruction. Billions killed. The survivors live under Viltrumite rule. Take the deal or watch everyone you love stop existing. Mark tries to hit him first. He always tries. The punch lands and does nothing. Thrag doesn't move. He barely registers it as an event. The gap between them is the same gap it's always been, except now Mark understands it in his body rather than just his head. He's fought Thrag before. He knows what this feels like. He knows there's no version of this fight he wins today. Lee Pace's voice performance in this scene is the thing that makes it land. Thrag isn't gloating. He's not enjoying this the way Conquest enjoyed things. He presents the deal the way a general presents terms after a siege, with the calm conviction of someone who already knows the outcome and is simply waiting for the other party to catch up.
Do you and your planet accept my terms, or do you choose annihilation for both our people?
When he tells Mark that in a way he's become the savior of the Viltrumite race, willing or not, you genuinely can't tell from Pace's delivery whether Thrag is taunting him or stating what he considers a simple fact. Both interpretations are available. Both are terrible in different ways. Mark stands there with his fist clenched and the visions running in the background. Thrag killing Eve, killing Debbie, the same images on the same loop. And he makes the only choice he can live with in that moment. He says yes. Then Thrag is gone and Mark is alone in the sky above a planet that's still standing because he agreed to let the people who want to conquer it live here quietly while they rebuild the numbers to do it properly. He saved billions of lives.
Your people will never know, but they will save us as we use them to birth our salvation.
He also just agreed to a ticking clock on the future of the universe. He knows both of those things are true simultaneously, and there's nowhere to put either of them. The post-credit scene closes the season with the weight it deserves. Alan the Alien has just been installed as the new leader of the Coalition of Planets. His inauguration went poorly from the first minute. The council immediately demanded that all Viltrumites be exterminated, including Mark and Nolan, and Alan spent his first hour as leader trying to talk them down from a decision that would require killing people he considers family. It didn't fully work. The council backed down for now. The pressure didn't go anywhere.
We will find the Viltrumites, and when that happens, I will decide what we do next. Meeting over.
Talia hands Alan a tablet. Thetis, before he died, recorded a final message. He tells Alan about a perfected strain of the Scourge virus. The original killed 99.9% of Viltrumites the first time it was deployed. This new version is designed to kill every last one. The reason Thetis never used it is that the genetic spread makes it dangerous to anyone with similar DNA. The half Viltrumites, Mark, Nolan, Oliver, would likely die in the same wave, but if push comes to shove, he says, use it, kill every last Viltrumite. Let nothing stop you, no matter the cost.
Use the Scourge virus and let nothing stop you, no matter the cost.
The screen holds on Alan's face as he processes the fact that he's been handed the power to end the Viltrumite threat permanently, and the instruction to use it without flinching, knowing that using it means killing the people who just helped save the universe and who he loves. The show closes on that image, a weapon that could fix everything, a price that shouldn't be payable. A man who has to decide, alone, which matters more. Alan the Alien has been comic relief for 3 seasons. He's been the optimistic counterweight to every dark thing the show throws. at its characters. The scene where he reads Titus's message is the first time the series asks whether Alan's fundamental warmth has a limit, and it asks that question at the exact moment he has the most power and the least support. He's new to the job, his predecessor just died, his closest friends are entangled in the threat he's been authorized to eliminate, and a posthumous voice is telling him not to let sentiment get in the way of what has to be done.
Every last Viltrumite must die.
Seth Rogen has been playing Alan with a lightness that makes him easy to underestimate. That lightness is still present in his face as he reads the message, and then it starts to go away. The finale handles Nolan's redemption without completing it, and that restraint is exactly right. He spent the entire season doing the right things. He worked with the Coalition, he fought alongside Mark, he nearly died stopping Thrag, he came back to Earth and went immediately to the people he hurt, knowing it would go badly and going anyway. He stood outside the house, he went to the crater, he apologized to Cecil knowing the apology couldn't fix anything. The show's answer to all of that is, it's a start. Debbie going with him to Telescria is the closest thing to a reward he gets. She's going for Oliver, not for him, and she tells him that clearly, but she lets him fly her to the ship, and when they look at the Earth together from above it, Nolan reaches toward her shoulder and stops himself. He knows he hasn't earned that yet.
The view through the main screen is really spectacular if you'd like to see it.
Fine.
J.K. Simmons plays the whole arc in the pauses. Nolan, at his worst, was a man of total conviction. Nolan trying to be better is a man learning to wait, learning to take up less space. The stop gesture says more than any line of dialogue could. The finale gives him one tender moment and then sends him back to space to keep paying what he owes. That's the right call. The season 4 finale is the first one where the most important thing Mark does is make a decision rather than survive a fight. The choice to accept Thrag's deal, made alone in the sky over Earth with no witnesses and no celebration, is the culmination of everything this season put Mark through. The PTSD that kept breaking through his homecoming, the reunions he kept missing pieces of because his brain was elsewhere, Eve's news and what it meant about the months he spent away, the sight of Nolan floating outside his old house trying to earn back the right to exist near the people he damaged, getting told by Cecil that the fear of him will never fully go away. All of that is context for why Mark says yes. The show built it carefully across 40 minutes of character work and then asked Mark to make the worst good decision a hero has ever had to make in this genre, and it trusted the audience to understand why without spelling it out.
Yes, I accept your terms.
The universe is strange. In a way, you've become our savior.
Robert Kirkman told The Wrap after the finale aired that every single thing about this show is changing going into season 5. He's right, and what's interesting is that the change started before the credits rolled. The moment Mark said yes to Thrag, the entire premise shifted. This stopped being a series about defeating the Viltrumite threat. The threat is on Earth, living next door, interbreeding with the population, playing a long game that Mark can see coming, and legally agreed to let happen. The show about a kid becoming a hero has become something more complicated. A story about what a hero does when the heroic thing already happened and it still wasn't enough. The Alan post-credits scene takes the shift even further. Thetis left a message: there's a perfected Scourge virus that'll kill every last Viltrumite if deployed. It'll also kill Mark, Nolan, and Oliver. The instruction is to use it anyway, no matter the cost. Alan is now holding a weapon that could end the threat permanently and authorization to pull the trigger on people he loves. Seth Rogen has played Alan with a lightness that makes him easy to underestimate. That lightness is still present in his face as he reads the message. And then it starts to go away. The show ends there. No resolution, no comfort. A hero who said yes to the wrong thing for the right reasons. A weapon that could fix everything at an unbearable price. Every major character left exactly where they need to be for season 5 to hit harder than anything before it. Previous finales ended with a fight that changed what the show was about next. This one ended with a conversation and a decision and a face full of dread, and it hit harder than any of them. Season 5 is confirmed for early 2027. Subscribe so you don't miss the breakdown the second it drops.